I recently published a Bambu Studio painting masterclass where I went through each of the painting tools and covered some of my tips and tricks for making the whole process easier. Since then, Bambu Labs has released Bambu Studio 1.9.1, which was a mega update. It featured 13 brand new features, 56 feature updates including new functionality, and a slew of bug fixes. In and amongst these were some welcome additions to the painting tools, and I would like to give you a quick rundown of one of them here, so let's have a look. Before the update, painting a straight line on your model was anything but fun. If there was an angle running along the exact line that you wanted to paint, you could use the fill tool and just fill one whole side of it, but you're still not drawing a straight thin line. Alternatively, you could use the triangle tool to meticulously paint the individual triangles running along the line that you want to paint. But this entirely relies on there being triangles that actually follow the line you want to paint, which isn't necessarily guaranteed and probably wouldn't give you a perfectly smooth line anyway. Your final option is to manually and very carefully just paint the line with the circle or sphere tool. Whilst you could get a fairly straight line if you were being really careful, especially if you were using a tablet and a ruler, getting a perfectly straight line was all but impossible.
Now, when you go into paint mode however, with either the circle or the sphere tool selected, you get the option to tick either vertical or horizontal, and with either of them ticked, when you click and drag to paint, regardless of how erratic your mouse movement is, it will only allow you to paint a perfectly straight line from that point along the axis that you selected. To switch between the axes, you just select whichever one you want, and to return to free painting so you're not limited to just straight lines, just untick whichever one is currently selected. Now you may ask, what if you wanted to paint a straight line that isn't either straight up or straight across? Well, that's not a problem. All you need to do is rotate your model so that the line that you want to paint is now in one of those two axes. As these straight lines when you're in paint mode are relative to the orientation of your view, not the orientation of the model, you can now paint the model. Then you can reorientate it back into however you'd like it ready for printing. Not only can you lock the axes in the material painting tool, you can also lock to a vertical axis when you're using the seam painting tool, making it far easier to manually paint seams perfectly onto edges and to keep them hidden. Going back to the painting tool, they've also added a Keep Horizontal tool. This will automatically activate when you select either horizontal or vertical, and then it will deactivate if you rotate or move your model. If your model isn't perfectly in the orientation that you think it is when you're using the straight line tool, you may end up finding that your straight lines are going off at an angle not where you think they should go. With Keep Horizontal selected, you get a drag bar underneath it, and if you drag that bar it will rotate your model, keeping it perfectly horizontal. This gives you a much easier way of viewing it from different angles whilst making sure that it's kept straight when you're painting straight lines.
I hope you found this quick nugget of printing info useful. If you did, you know the drill. Hit that like button and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss my future videos. Thanks very much everyone, and until next time, happy printing. If you hadn't already seen it, you can check out my Bambu Studio painting masterclass right here, or you can check out one of my other videos to learn something new or have some fun. Thanks very much everyone, and until next time, happy printing.